joined Ben outside just now, and I realized I don't have pants on. I was hungry last night and I was gonna just eat a Snickers bar, but Ben convinced me to get room service. I ordered nachos. Oh gross, there's like bugs everywhere. They weren't very good.
I am so tired. I was up until 2 or 3 a.m. editing. Two, 3, 13, 14, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's burning off the buffet right there.
17, you got it. 18, 19, almost there. Oh, wait, that was 19. Hey, you gotta do one more. 24. One more. You got it. You got this. 20. Oh! I think that was to exhaustion. Look who's eating the leftover nachos. Oh, guacamole.
Excuse us.
Maybe you can
Okay, help yourself, dude. I'm really frustrated right now. This vlog episode, I finished editing it 2 days ago, and it's taken 2 days to upload, and it's still only at 96%. Back home, I have like upload speeds of like 30 megs. Here, it's like 0.5. It means I have to like come in here every hour when the internet shuts down just to like continue uploading it because it logs me out of the internet.
Can we get dos lattes for more?
Dos lattes.
Yeah. Gracias.
I don't know if I want this one or this one. Oh my god. Oh. Bonus, I didn't realize this had chocolate in the middle. I was really excited to come here and just like enjoy really good food, but it's been really disappointing. The food's really not that good. I can think, oh, quit being a baby, you're so spoiled, but I think it's okay to like have expectations and be disappointed And then you kind of have to move on though. So I'm moving on with this chocolate croissant, making the best of it. But I have no complaints about this view. It's amazing. And this one.
I'm really thankful for some of these routines that we've developed back at home, like running or working out in the morning, or even writing out the Bible, drinking coffee. Because when we go on vacation, these are the things that like help make me feel sane. Even though I don't need to do them, I really enjoy it because it brings a lot of peace and stability to my life. Because these are things that are important to me. Snickers bars?
Yes.
Oh, there we are. Can we get Moss of those?
Ready?
Yeah, can we get like 4 or 5?
Yes.
Gracias. I feel like we're letting Margarita down. Margarita! We'll be right there. Do you miss us? We'll be right there. Okay. My friends are waiting for me? It looks like it. There's our friends waiting for us. It is time for Q&A, but we don't have the intro clip because I forgot the cord to my hard drive. The first question is from Mama Girl Manly, and she asks, have you ever faced opposition from close family on how you choose to raise your children? Has it caused a rift between the two of us?
Yeah, I think early on in our marriage, there were family members that believed different things than how we wanted to raise our kids, and we had to come to the point where we believed it was more valuable for us to be on the same page and to be unified than to please the other family members. But that took time and it wasn't easy.
Even if I'm wrong, I really value it when Cammie backs me, at least over someone else. Because at the end of the day, I think it's okay to make mistakes as a parent, and it's the only way we learn is if we have a certain degree of agency and responsibility over certain people and decisions. And I think our kids are primarily our responsibility. We have to live with the benefits or consequences of our actions. So when people disagree with us or have different opinions, that's okay, but in the end, we have to make the decision to go with theirs or to go with ours.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say the most important thing we've discovered is for you and I to be on the same page as much as possible.
Yeah. Because I think it was also really confusing for our children if we're like, we're not backing each other up and we're kind of like, you know, doing one thing and then the next minute doing another. And I think that was something I recognized.
And I think it's okay to support someone, but also not fully agree with them, or to think that they're right, or, you know, so there's times where it's more important for me that Cammie realizes that she has a certain degree of authority and trust as their mom more than the decision itself. It's possible for me to even undermine it, or other people, and to say, well, they can do it better than you, so let them do it. Which is good in the short run, but in the long run, I want Cammie to step more and more into that responsibility. And for me, as their father, to not tune out and be like, oh, well, I didn't get to make that decision, so someone else must be in charge here.
Yeah.
Linen and Grains asks, what do you guys think about veganism and Christianity, or at least conscious consumerism when it comes to food choices? That's pretty specific. I think it's really fun trying to figure out how to partner with God's design for our bodies and cultures when it comes to food. I also think it's very difficult and it's very subjective. I don't think that there is a right way to eat, a right group of people to buy your food from, and a wrong group of people to buy your food from. And so while we're always tweaking and looking for ways to spend our dollars in a way that aligns with our values, I see that more as a pleasure of something we get to do instead of something we have to do or can judge others on. I mean, there's this famous passage in the Bible where Paul was asking these people, like, what about the craziest example? It's just like meat that was used to like sacrifice to false gods. Like, if there's any such thing as like bad food, this would be it. And he said, if you feel free to eat it, you can eat it. The food itself is not bad. God made everything.
Brittany Getz asks, what practical tips could you give for starting to fight for together for a family that is very saturated in the opposite? Especially if you are the only one interested in fighting for together and your spouse is happy with the way things are and resistant. I think that your desire to find ways for your family to fight for together is really important. And I don't think it's something that you should give up on. But it is, I acknowledge it's really hard when your spouse and you aren't on the same page with something like that. So I think it's important that your spouse feels like their values still matter and that you're saying these things to them in a way that they can hear.
The way this question is phrased, it's making it sound as if television or mindless entertainment are the things that are against together. And I don't think that. We don't have like an anti-TV channel. That's not what our message is about. I think there's ways to find togetherness everywhere. And there are certain things that might facilitate it better than other things. At least that's what we found. But we don't know where certain people are at. And I guess I would just be careful. It's easy to say something like, in this case to your husband or whoever, to say, you watch TV, you don't care about family. I don't watch TV, I care about family. And that already, I think it starts off the conversation very antagonistically, and it's actually not necessarily true. So there are a couple suggestions I would say. One is to say, oh, you like TV. TV can be great. Is there a way that we can watch a show together as a family?
Yeah.
You know, or I would really like to do something with you. I can see that you like TV. Is there a show that we can watch together on Friday nights or something? The second thing would just be to build any bridge possible that you can, primarily with your spouse. So instead of saying, I'm different from you, I actually assume that people do care about family and together, and sometimes they don't always know how to take the next step. And
or they're like seeing it they're fighting for together in a different way that maybe doesn't look to you like they are.
But to share your feelings can also be really important because it can cause the other person to grow. So to say, hey, when you watch TV, I don't feel cared for, or I don't feel like you're fighting for our family. And I think that's an important truth, but I think it's important not to put too much judgment on the other person.
Our relationship is the most important thing to take care of in the effort to fight for together as a family, because there is this trickle down effect that if there's disunity between us, it's gonna leak into the whole family unit.
Yeah, and that's where I would issue as a challenge to you, Brittany, is if you want to start to fight for together with your family, I think you have to start trying to build that bridge with your husband. And even though you might say, or anyone can say, and I'm just answering your question, but I think we all have this, where we're like, well, they don't want it. There's nothing I can do. I don't think that's true. I think there's always something we can do to build a bridge with people.
But then again, I want to reemphasize that your desire in this is a good thing. And I would say don't give up on that.
Yeah.
Clover Dilly Girl asks, how and at what age do you guys talk to your kids about sex? I don't really think we have an age that we say, okay, now we can talk about sex with you. There's not really a too young age to talk about it, but there are appropriate age ways to talk about it with your kids. So when we talk about it with our 6-year-old, it's going to be really different and probably fairly scant than when we talk about it with our 16-year-old.
Yeah, I don't think sex is like just a topic that gets addressed in a talk. It's like a lifestyle. And it's a part of who we are. It is part of who we are. Yeah, we don't want to ignore that our 6-year-old is just as much a sexual being as our 16-year-old. And our 16-year-old is just as much of a sexual being as we are. It just gets more complicated the older you get. I think it would be weird to say, oh, when are you going to start talking to your kids about money? It's like, no, money just is. I mean, from an early age, you look at the street and you're like, hey, there's a penny, and the kid gets excited, and it's like, okay, it's very simple, and as it gets older, it gets more complicated, but we don't think sex is a bad thing that should be hidden, and we don't think kids can really get hurt too much by hearing too much information from people that love them. As long as it's done like age appropriately. When I say age appropriately, it's like I wouldn't start talking about business economics or checking accounts with my 2-year-old because they don't get it. It's not helpful to them. But to say, hey, mommy and daddy spend time together, sex makes babies, we have private parts, sex is fun, we enjoy it. Those are things that I don't have a problem with. And as they start asking questions or other areas start applying more, I think that is a cue to go deeper. Right. So you're talking about, well, then you're talking like, how does it work? Or like, what exactly is it? Or when they're older, it's like, what? I have these certain urges. What do I do with them? I'll show you. Nothing. You lock it up. All right, that's it. I feel really like in a funk today. I feel like I'm like, this vacation is like catching up with me, where I'm like, there's only so much like sitting around and like consuming I can do. We really like our life back home, and we feel really fulfilled in our life back home, and that we have a purpose. And then when we're taken out of that, it's really hard. And I actually think it's valuable in that we get a different perspective on our life back home, but it's hard like not having a purpose. Yeah. Day in, day out. I feel the closest to you when we have a common goal or mission. Yeah. And the harder, the better. It's like, oh, we really need to like partner together. Yeah. Here, it's like, it would be crazy if we didn't even have this, to tell you the truth. Like, I don't know. This actually even, I think, helps us in our vacation. It's weird too, because I feel like we have rest like built into our schedule, like enough of it. Right. So then I come here and it's like rest squared, and I'm like, 7 days of Sabbath. It feels like too much like,
eating and smoking and sex. I didn't know there was a thing. First world problems.
Yep.